Today I'm going to talk to you about creating video content on a limited budget. Let's go. Hey there, my name is Daniel and welcome to another video on Uscreen Health and Fitness, where we help you make money with your fitness content online. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to make more money doing what you love with health and fitness, go ahead and start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. As a creator, it's important to be able to produce high quality content consistently without breaking the bank. We all know that in order to grow a following, you've got to be putting out new and engaging stuff for your audience regularly, or you're going to lose their attention. With that in mind, today we're going to cover some cost-efficient gear when it comes to creating a studio and shooting some video. In reality, the result of what you see here is that I've been making videos with friends since high school, and I've used a lot of gear over the years, but never the high-end stuff. I've always made do with what I had when I had it, and that meant using meal money check in college to buy my first Canon Rebel T2i, which barely shot video. I've been through a few models since then and now work with what you're seeing now, which is the Sony a7 III. Gear is one of my weaknesses. Admittedly, I've spent an unfortunate amount of time researching gadgets and gear when I could have spent that time studying how to more effectively use what I had. The amount of great gear out there is endless. And regardless of what you use to capture your content, what really matters is knowing how to manipulate the image on the screen and make the end product look truly amazing. In today's world, it really doesn't matter what gear you have. What matters is a strong attention to detail and having a compelling vision for what the end result could be. That being said, let's go ahead and start walking through a relatively limited setup to get you up and running. So why start out cheap? Why not go ahead and splurge a little bit on nicer equipment to start? Well, that's a great question, but there are a few things to consider, especially if you're new to creating video content. What if you want to test the market before committing to spending thousands of dollars? Maybe cheaper is better for the time being until you can justify spending more on equipment. Ask yourself, are you really committed to the direction and the vision of your video strategy? Even if it isn't getting you the results you want for the first 12 to 18 months. Video takes time and consistency. So are you willing to put in the work, even if that means it's gonna take a long time? If not, maybe going the cheaper route is the right way for you. I mean, why not save the money for now? The truth is that most of the lower end budget cameras are not a ton better than the cameras on your smartphone. So if I were in those shoes and looking for a limited budget setup, had no gear, and I was starting from scratch, here is what I would do. Camera. For this setup, I would probably use a smartphone camera. We've all got one. They take really good photos and videos, so just start there. Plus, you likely already have one that's paid for in full or have it on a payment plan with your mobile service provider, so you don't have to budget for anything bigger. I'm an iPhone guy, and considering how great the cameras are on these phones, it's hard to go wrong. Not to mention that you can record your videos in 4K if you want. As I mentioned, any smartphone will do, but if I were starting up right now, I'd go for the iPhone 11 Pro. The 3 lenses built into this phone will offer you a ton of variety in where and how you shoot, and whether you need a wide shot or one that's a little bit tighter. In addition to the iPhone 11 Pro, I'd highly recommend buying the app Filmic Pro. Last time I checked, I think it's $15 or $20, but it'll pay itself off immediately. What Filmic Pro does is that it gives you manual control over your smartphone camera so that you can adjust focus, exposure, white balance, frame rate. It can even shoot at 100 megabits per second in 4K, which is fantastic for image quality. It's also got audio controls and monitoring features. One of the coolest features of Filmic Pro on the iPhone 11 Pro is that you can view all of the camera angles at once, as Apple showed off during their release event. All 3 back lenses and your forward-facing camera on one screen, and I'm pretty sure that you can record multiple views at one time, but don't quote me on that. Regardless, this is the setup that I would jump to have as a beginner. If you're determined to get an actual camera and to not use a smartphone, then I would highly recommend either the Sony a6400 or the Sony a6600, which is the newer model. Both can shoot in 4K, they aren't super expensive, and they have great, relatively affordable lenses available, like the Sigma 16mm f1.4 or the Sigma 30mm f1.4, both of which I've used before and I loved. So start there. The next piece of gear on the list would be a tripod. You can get a smartphone tripod for pretty cheap from a number of places. Joby's a reputable name, and I've had their GorillaPod smartphone tripod for years. You can find it on Amazon for about $25, and it's so much easier than having to find things to prop your phone up against. If you get a camera, aim for something like a SwitchPod, which is relatively new, and it'll run you a little bit more, about $99, but I think you're really gonna love it. Audio's up next. The audio that your phone captures is okay, but it's not great. As a note, if you have AirPods, please don't record your audio with them. It looks bad, and the audio capture just isn't good either. You can do better. What I would recommend is getting an external microphone that can attach to your phone. There are a couple of shotgun mic options, which is great because you can't see it in the camera and the quality is fantastic. This is probably one of the pricier items, but it's worth it for quality audio. This short directional mic has a lightning port connection, so you should be able to use it on the current iPhone. If you go with the actual camera route, then aim for the Rode VideoMic Go, which you can grab for about $70 online. It's a fantastic microphone, it's a great place to start, and you won't regret it. You can also go a little bit cheaper and get something like a wired lavalier microphone, which is often used in high-end productions. The only downside is that it's wired. And if you've got an iPhone that has no 3.5mm headphone jack, you'll need a dongle to make it work. Speaking of lav mics, here's a quick tip on using them. It'll take you from amateur to pro in a flash. Usually when a lavalier mic is used in a shoot, you end up seeing it in the shot in one way or another. Sometimes they just don't care and they'll let the wire hang all over the subject's shirt, so you see it just hanging down in the shot. But if they care a little bit more, then usually what they'll do is they'll run the wire up through the subject's shirt and then clip it on the collar. But that still doesn't look great. For the pros, there's an even better way to do it that'll get you the audio you want, and you won't see the lav in the process. First, take off the foam windscreen and then the clip that you would usually use to attach the mic to the subject, and you're left with this little bullet looking thing, which is actually the microphone. Now, I'd recommend only doing this to yourself or someone that you're really comfortable with, because it can get a little awkward, but you'll want to get some double-sided tape, or in my case I'm using painter's tape, and you're going to want to put a piece of tape on each side of the mic, like so, but you're not going to want to actually cover the microphone. So you're going to want to leave kind of the tip of it just free from everything. And then you're going to want to run it up your shirt, and you're actually going to tape the microphone to your chest or your undershirt if you've got one on. Once you've done that, then you're going to press your shirt up against the tape on that microphone and pull it away and repeat a few times until the tape starts to lose its stickiness. Once you've done that, then you're all set. You can't even tell that there's a microphone there. Now, no one can see it, and I'm going to capture some great audio. Ultimately, the choice lies with you, and the shotgun microphone will be the best option for most people. But if you're up for the challenge, then this can be a great alternative. The last thing I would recommend is getting at least one light to use in your setup. It's not the end of the world if you can't get a light, but lighting can make a tremendous difference between an amateur looking video and a very professional looking one. I started with just one simple ring light. Yeah, the lights that girls on YouTube use to do their makeup. I love the look it gives the eyes of the subject on the screen. It's affordable and it's very multifunctional. The light I recommend is the newer ring light, which is $99 on Amazon. I've actually got it over here, and you can't see it. It's kind of filling in some blue light over here where my other light isn't quite doing all of the work. So it's helping to pick up the load for me, but it was my only light for 5 or 6 years when I was doing video work on my own for clients. It's versatile, it's mobile, and it's dimmable so that you can adjust the amount of light being used. In terms of setting up your shot, the rest of it is up to you. I did my best to use things that I already had at home, like the fitness gear, and I hunted down furniture on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. I found some really good deals on a few items at Walmart, like those picture frames and the coffee setup back there. Do your best with what you have to put something together. What worked really well for me was looking around at other popular YouTube channels like Peter McKinnon, Sarah Dietschy, Sydney DeYoung's, Parker Walbeck, and breaking down what I liked and disliked about their studio setups. And then I tried to apply what they're doing well to my own studio. This isn't perfect, but it's a great place to start, and it will evolve and get better over time. With that said, if you're looking for a more in-depth guide on setting up a studio, click here to watch this video. I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay, that's a lot at once, so I want to let you digest it. but what piece of equipment do you think you're going to splurge on? Let me know in the comments below. And to learn more about making money with your fitness content online, make sure you subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.